Okay, the reason my hair is so messed up right now is because I just woke up from a nap, and I wanted to make a video about someone, the memory of whom helped me deal with very rough experiences I had in my mid-20s. So when I was in Fort Collins, I was at a coffee shop, okay? And I was invited to this shop by a friend who was interested in, I guess it's like the Asian game Go, which is kind of like chess, except maybe it's more complex or something. To this day, I don't know a single damn thing about Go, but I met a gentleman there who was like this tall, thin, old guy with sort of silver hair and light-colored eyes. Okay, so I went to this club a couple times, even though I didn't really intend to accustom myself to the rules and procedures of this game that the present gentlemen were playing. And at some point, he invited me to his house. And I quietly found that alarming because I didn't think there was anything special about me at that time. But at some point, I went with him from the coffee shop to his house one day. I was wearing my stupid $7 like beige trench coat, which I purchased from a local thrift store, and we spoke for several hours. So the conversation mainly consisted of him speaking in these enormously lengthy, nuanced sentences without any effort, and me occasionally interjecting with really stupid statements. So he was kind enough to offer me several books for free, and he introduced me to a little portion of his wall of books that was called like the Wall of Rampant Egomania or something. And this little portion of his personal library included patents and other intellectual achievements about which he might have boasted for long if he was somebody with an overpowered ego, which he was definitely not, okay? So I didn't accept the books he gave me. I didn't think it was right to take away his books from him because it was very clear that he was putting them to good use. But I did give him a video presentation of Waking Up by Sam Harris, which was like a Vivo presentation in which Mr. Harris spoke with remarkable lucidity about the contents of that book and maybe some of the broader implications it could have on a portion of, say, intelligentsia or, modern society. So at this time, I was nothing more than basically a hyper-literate nobody, and I've lived most of my life as a hyper-literate nobody and, like a recluse or just kind of a shadowy loser. And the more I tried to be someone who just never picked up any attention at all and spent time reading and, playing video games in silence, the more that certain people with certain kinds of special qualities seemed to pick up on the fact that I was this sort of pensive, ruminative, focused person. So he was not the only person who picked up on and had this kind of long conversation with me totally at random. There was another woman. Her name was Nancy, but she saw me reading a book one day when I was sitting outside of a classroom, and she randomly invited me to speak with her, and several times we spoke to each other, and she was just a fountain of wisdom. Okay, so I strangely had these conversations with people who just kind of picked up on the fact that we could share certain insights with each other, and you might say, well, that's just totally normal, but I made a very, very strenuous effort to not be noticed for most of my life. Because I regard attention as something that is inherently volatile or dangerous. And yet there were these people who had pure intentions and who treated me like I was somebody who was destined for greatness, to use kind of a cliche expression. And I look back on these kinds of events and realize, like, that despite the fact that I have experienced all kinds of mistreatment, you know, seem to have naturally exhibited certain qualities that these very bright, wise, thoughtful people picked up on. And, you know, if it's possible that any of them will encounter my videos at one point, I want them to know that they should continue in this tendency to sort of find and help out people who seem to just be loners and recluses and oddballs, because it is certainly life-saving. Even if you have a single, say, 2-hour conversation with, you know, some lonely guy who's just reading an obscure book about, I don't know, some weird topic, you can end up saving that person's life, particularly when they deal with, you know, illness or some kind of hardship, and all they have is a set of warm memories to keep them sort of psychologically in one piece, even if they're, you know, in a state within which they're clinically compromised. So that's something to think about, okay? A single conversation can change the entire direction of somebody's life, whether it does so right away or merely when it's recalled, when someone is suffering in silence. So thank you for watching and have a good day. And stay sharp and sober.